Well, I made some variations of this in a few other videos to start it off, but I think to get this one out of the way, the better team won. Straight up, plain and simple. The Vegas Golden Knights have defeated the Vancouver Canucks in Game 7 of their second round 2020 Stanley Cup Playoffs series with a score of 3-0. Thatcher Demko only let in a goal, but we'll get into just exactly how that happened and the implications of that goal a little bit later. 2 empty net goals scored by Vegas. The Vancouver Canucks apparently left it out there all on the ice, according to what Travis Green said. He mentioned in the post-game interview about how his team was panting after every shift. They were really trying hard out there. And, you know, that's what's going to happen on a back-to-back. The team did not really show up here in Game 7, and it's kind of funny. It is kind of funny. The first Game 7 that the Vancouver Canucks play in 9 years somewhat has a similar effort level to the one that we saw before. Now, I know in 2011 we got 30-something shots on Tim Thomas, but still, that Vancouver Canucks team got shut out in a Game 7 and it didn't look great. This Vancouver Canucks team got shut out in a Game 7 and it didn't look great. And I know, probably the best thing to go over right in a video like this is talking about how the Vancouver Canucks are a young team. Their best players are under the age of 23. They did their best, and they were absolute game changers night in and night out. Except on the nights where Robin Lehner got a shutout, I guess I would say that. But still, this team has a bright future. Everybody knows that. Everybody can understand that the best players on this team are young, high-quality players that are going to get better with age. As this team grows and develops chemistry with one another, man, there are going to be so many amazing things to watch out of this squad. And plus, the fact that the Vancouver Canucks hadn't made the playoffs in 5 years makes it all the more interesting to see how far they were actually going to go. This was a young team. This was an underdog team, and they beat the Minnesota Wild in the qualifying series, and they beat the reigning Stanley Cup champions in a best out of 6, and they beat the Vegas Golden Knights 2 times in a row, facing elimination to force a Game 7. And that's amazing. The Game 7 sucked, I'll say that. But the season as a whole, the way they played in the postseason, the way they played in the bubble, the way they were able to compete and fight their way to force an opportunity to win was extraordinary. And now, the Vegas Golden Knights, after beating the Vancouver Canucks, will be facing the Dallas Stars on Sunday. But because I'm a Canucks fan, I'm biased because I make videos about Vancouver. Let's go over this game. I don't even really know if I want to go in chronological order and talk about some of the notes I have, because I do have a lot of notes that I wrote down for this one. Pretty much it was just Demko, a little bit of Ryan Reeves, and then some more Demko. Because the Vancouver Canucks in this one were outshot quite a lot. In the first 4 minutes, they were down 4-0 in the shots, and after that clicked, I was like, okay, they're probably going to get outshot in this one again here. And outshot they did. The shots on goal ended 36-14 for Vegas. The goals were 3-0, and Thatcher Demko made 33 saves on 34 shots. On a lot of opportunities that probably should have gone in under normal circumstances, and he was amazing. I'll say that right now. Demko gave the Canucks a chance to win. Demko was the best player on the ice. He was the best player on the ice the past 3 games. And the Vancouver Canucks goaltending situation just got all the more interesting with Demko. And to think that it was a Markstrom apparent groin injury that caused all of this. Markstrom getting taken out was the ultimate catalyst for Demko to prove himself as one of the best young goalies in the NHL. And he gave his team a chance to win here tonight. We saw lots of zone time for Vegas. We saw the Vancouver Canucks do that same little strategy where they get hemmed into their zone, and then once they take the puck out, they just dump it out because they're tired and they need to change, and then after they dump it out, the Vegas Golden Knights get it. They come back into the Canucks zone. They spend some more extended time in the Canucks zone, rinse and repeat. And this pattern had proved itself, for some reason, profitable for the Canucks in the past 2 games. But in this game here, the Canucks just could not get any offense, and it really did show as the game went on. The big thing that happened was the Tyler Motte hit in the second period, where Tyler Motte was taken out by a very cheap headshot by Ryan Reeves. In my opinion, Do I think it was a mistake? Yes. I did not think he intentionally did it, but at the same time, I think he intentionally hit the guy and just so happened to do so in a manner that was right to the head and not really contacting any other part of his body. At this point, it was a 5-minute major, and I started freaking out because I was like, oh my gosh, the Vegas Golden Knights, they just gave up another 5-minute major in Game 7 of a series where they blew a 3-1 lead. Last time that happened, it was last year, and San Jose scored a boatload of goals on that 5-minute major. They won that game in overtime and forced themselves into the second round. But this time, it was a little bit different. The Vancouver Canucks in the power play, absolutely terrible. I'm not going to sugarcoat that. The Vegas Golden Knights, I'll give them a ton of props. They did a very good amount of cutting down space, cutting off the Canucks' passing lanes, cutting off their passing options, and clogging themselves up on the boards and not really allowing the Canucks to do any sort of offensive damage. This is why they killed off that 5-minute major. And after that was killed off, from the end of the second period up until the beginning of the first period, I was kind of like, okay, that's kind of it, right? We're not going to win this game. We are not going to win this game. It's just a matter of time. Thatcher Demko has been absolutely stretching it this far for 2 games and 2 other periods that it's gonna break eventually, right? And once that Vancouver Canucks power play was over, I was kind of looking at the clock and I said to myself, you know, I think this is gonna be the last 20 minutes of Canucks hockey we see this year. Even immediately from the puck drop, you could just feel your heart and your stomach sink down to the bottom of the earth, just with weight, heavy pressure, and emotion. You just kind of felt really dreadful, and I think that's a feeling that a lot of people watching this Canucks team had, because everybody kind of saw it. The Canucks clearly were not the better team in Game 7, but we knew they had a chance. So there was the angst, and there was the overall expectation as to what could happen, what would happen, and what should happen, but overall, it's a Shea Theodore shot off of a face-off win that goes in, off of a penalty that I thought was really, really unfortunate. Quinn Hughes gets taken down at the side of the net, which leaves a man open in front. JT Miller comes in to try to cover for that man, and he gets a hooking penalty. The Vancouver Canucks win the face-off because Jay Beagle wins it cleanly back to his D-man, but the referee restarts the face-off, and on the second time around, it's won by Vegas, played over to Theodore, he grips it, he rips it, it's off the post and in. Theodore is the only player in the entire bubble to beat Thatcher Demko. He did that 2 games ago, he did that in this game. And once that goal went in, that's kind of when the numbness, you know, the overall feeling of not really feeling anything just kind of set in. It was with about 7 minutes left in the third period, and I was like, you know, let's just see how they play. And to their credit, they did bounce back a little bit. They got a few opportunities, they had a few chances, but they didn't end up doing anything. Robin Lehner gets his 3rd shutout of the series, and I think it was Harmon Dale on Twitter who made a tweet talking about how it's absolutely insane how the guy who got 3 shutouts in a best-of-7 series was not the best goalie in the series. Because Robin Lehner, man, he made some really good saves. There was that one chance on Boeser on the 2-on-1, I believe it was in the second, where Horvat sent it over, and then Boeser got gloved out of midair. If that goes in, that changes the entire game, but you can say the same thing for all the other Vegas chances. Nicholas Waugh hit the post. There were a few opportunities that were barely missed, and I was kind of saying in my head, man, it was a matter of time before the Canucks cracked. And towards the end of the game, where you were watching how this team was trying to get its late-staged offense, everything was just kind of going wrong, you know? The puck was flipping over on the players' blades, they weren't really controlling their passes right. I kind of noticed this tendency while watching the Canucks, wherein it didn't really look like they were pouncing on the pucks anymore. It just looked like they were waiting for the pucks to come to them. And that happened on a number of occasions where they had an opportunity to corral the puck and take it over for a pass or something, or set up a play, but instead of taking the puck, they just stood there waiting for the puck to go to them, and then Vegas would take it, and then they would come in, and then they would score on an empty net, for example. They did that twice, and ultimately it's a 3-0 game. I know I'm probably not going to remember what exactly happened in this game about a week from now. I'm really not going to make an effort to remember anything about how this game actually went, but what I will remember is the emotion behind it, and I will remember the context, I guess. Because Vegas was a cup favorite. They were supposed to be the best team out of the West. And I said that Vegas would beat Vancouver in 5, but hey, they did it in 7. So, the fact that the Canucks gave us this little sliver of hope that they could dethrone the Knights, it was actually insane to think about. And again, it goes back to that original point. This team has accomplished so much, much more than we thought they would have been able to accomplish. And sure, they came up short in a game that they probably maybe could have had an opportunity to win had they changed up a thing or two, had they started shooting the puck a little bit more, for example. But at the end of the day, the better team won, the deeper team won, and the team with a boatload of future potential, giving its fans a ride that they didn't expect to get on at the beginning of the season, they end up looking forward to what's next. So, talk to me in the comments what you thought about this game. I hope you enjoyed this video. The Vancouver Canucks are done. 2019-20 is over. Social That's Ross 99, and bye.